Michael Saylor has made it official. He will sell Bitcoin. But how much and for what reason? There's no shortage of spicy takes to be had on the topic. I'm sure the boys have plenty we're going to discuss today. Also, SpaceX and Anthropic just entered into a massive deal as Larry Fink eyes tokenized futures on compute, and OpenAI spies on the Canadian public. And oil storage tanks in the U.S. will be empty by July 4th as the Iran war continues. We'll cover that as well. We've got some interesting videos to show. Strap in, drop a like. I'm Ben with the BTC Sessions. This is Bitcast. The issue is not red or blue. The issue is between the state and you.
It can be a little bit of a warning sign.
It gives you a tool to empower.
That sounds like a utopia, my friend.
It is. It's exactly a utopia.
With Bitcoin, no one can take it from you.
All right,
I told
gentlemen.
you, Walker. I told you, damn it. Sorry, Ben, go ahead.
What?
I'm already missing something here, but we're gents, it's good to see you. Cheers. I'm feeling a little bit better and thus having a beer.
Salud.
So
Nice. Joey's having some wine his wife's boyfriend gave him.
This is actually like some gifted wine that's probably really terrible because my wife told me it's the only one I'm allowed to open because I always have one glass.
Oh, so it
and
is
let
a gift
turn
from
to
your
vinegar.
wife's boyfriend.
Oh.
Oh, what a coincidence.
We probably got it from somewhere. I don't know what he gets her, but it's
Somewhere.
probably
Got
hopefully
it.
something more expensive than this.
amazing,
Yeah.
amazing.
Just
Gents,
moonshine.
oh yeah,
Grappa.
perfect.
Nice.
Perfect. Yeah, Brandon outmans us all. We are chatting Saylor selling Bitcoin. So I'm going to pull up this article here. So what the hell is going on? Why is he selling Bitcoin? And how much? And so they, first off, Saylor says strategy will likely sell Bitcoin for STRC. So the context here in the strategy first quarter earnings call, executives highlighted the rapid growth of STRC, which has raised $8.5 billion since launch. Saylor noted that strategy's current position requires Bitcoin to appreciate just 2.3% annually for existing holdings to cover STRC dividend obligations indefinitely without selling any common stock. He added, "We'll probably sell some Bitcoin to fund the dividend just to inoculate the market, just to send the message that we did it." So again, he goes on, "We will sell Bitcoin when it's advantageous to the company. We're not going to sit back and just say we'll never sell the Bitcoin. We want," this is from the CEO, by the way, "we want to be net aggregators of Bitcoin, increasing our total Bitcoin, but more importantly, increasing our Bitcoin per share." Now, this comes after their Q1. What was it, a 12 and a half? That's a lot of zeros, guys. Help me out here. 12 and a half, Bill. Is that the net loss? Of course, that's on the books. That's like, as Bitcoiners, we're used to our net worth ping-ponging like crazy. Now, there's been a lot of takes on this. We've got Adam Livingston with a fucking novel here on it. I'm not going to go through all of it, but basically going through the math of like, well, you can sell and you can do this and you can, and how resilient MSTR, what a good position it is to even do this. CoffeeZilla doubling down on his previous takedown on strategy, saying, "Just so everyone's clear, Saylor wants to use STRC sales to buy Bitcoin. Saylor wants to pay STRC 11.5% dividends by selling Bitcoin. This will not work long term." And then in general, we've got James Lavish just summing it up very quickly here. "If you are selling MSTR today because of what Saylor said on the call last night, you either have no idea what you owned or you simply do not understand capital markets. Have a great day." So I just want to quickly outline my general take on this, and then I'm just going to let you guys go for it. But when I think of the initial position of Saylor as he came into the space, never sell your Bitcoin, there's no second best. Bitcoin is basically, Bitcoin is going to replace everything. Like, Bitcoin is money, all of that. And we've seen bit by bit that kind of all of those narratives be gradually chipped away at in various ways. So first, Bitcoin is not a competitor to the US dollar. They can live side by side. They work together. Everything's fine. And a lot of people say, okay, well, that's 4D chess. He knows what he's doing. Bitcoin's going to engulf everything. But for the time being, he doesn't want to be a target. Okay, whatever. Moving on from that, though, like this recent the conference in Vegas where he's talking about like, well, what if we had stable coins getting yield on, what did he say? Like Solana and Ethereum and all this other shit, like, all the shitcoiny things are now, I guess, above board as long as you can accrue value in Bitcoin at the end of the day. But there was always this kind of rock of you never sell your Bitcoin. How many times over and over again, you never sell your Bitcoin? Sometimes you sell your Bitcoin. And so my point is not MSTR is doomed or anything like that. My point is there's Bitcoin and then there's financial products that rely on trust. And you must trust that the stated reasons presented by the person selling you the product continue to be the guiding light of the company and the people building the products in perpetuity moving forward. So if you bought because they will never sell their Bitcoin, now they might sell a little bit of Bitcoin. They still want to accrue enough. But like, how far does the narrative shift before we say it's different now or you lied? I'm not saying like people's opinions change.
Strong words.
I know.
He's inviting it. He's inviting
Just
the
wait for
criticism.
Nathan to get in here.
Yeah, so like how far have we come? And like I see a lot of stuff on here, like in the CoffeeZilla, and I like Adam Livingston. I think he has some good stuff out there. But like, you see a tweet from him back March 9th. He will never have to sell Bitcoin. Sorry. And he's saying he's going to sell Bitcoin. Now, having to and choosing to are obviously different things, but like maybe that changes too. Like, so anyways, I'm just saying Bitcoin, you buy it because you don't have to trust anyone. The rules are baked in. Everything else is subject to change and people need to realize what they're purchasing. So I'm going to leave there. What do you guys think?
Oh, geez, where the fuck
Nathan?
do I begin? Sorry for that, team. It was fun. It was fun getting into it with Walker on the Friday there. So I'm sure, or the Monday. Jesus
Let's
Christ.
get into it again.
Let's get into it again.
Let's go.
First and foremost, who else said never sell your Bitcoin? I remember very clearly that President Trump came out and said never sell your Bitcoin, right? And the reason I bring up that example is because he's one of the kings of pacing and leading. Never sell your Bitcoin. That mantra of what they were saying, what they were putting forward, I think was a way to get attention. And it worked, right? It benefited all of us. It raised the price. It got MSTR in here. And it got them, basically had the entire Bitcoin community following him. Now, nothing there is illegal or necessarily wrong, but like, how long has he been thinking that he's going to do this? It was just a mantra to get attention. It was just a mantra thing to boost share prices, to get money back into MSTR. And it worked, right? It absolutely worked. But now that narrative is completely dead. So one, do I think that we were expressly lied to? Yes. Yes, I do. I think it was marketing. It was lying in the same way that advertising is marketing. So I'm not necessarily saying that it's outright immoral, but there would have always been the caveat that if they needed
you
to,
an
or if they
MSTR
had
shareholder?
Clip it.
No.
Clip it.
So does he owe you jack shit?
No, he doesn't. Oh, good. Let's have fun with this. Okay. So
let's go, baby.
Brandon, just mute your
Let's go.
mic. If you got to go wash like the washroom now,
Now's a
do
good time
it,
to go to the
and we'll just come
bathroom.
back. Yeah.
So he doesn't owe me jack shit, but it's a nice, wonderful tradition of Bitcoin to go ahead and slay our heroes. And I think this is one too. And the distinction that I'm making here is also that there's like, he can use Bitcoin for whatever the fuck he wants. The company can do whatever the hell they want with it. They can accumulate it. They could sell it, and like power to them. But I think the days of looking to him as an icon of the importance of where the network's going, what we have to do from the freedom perspective, where this thing's going to develop in, is done. Like the credibility is shot here. He doesn't even have to sell the Bitcoin to talk about selling the Bitcoin, combined with like promoting yield on Bitcoin and shit coins in Bitcoin, to go like, look, I get it. Power to you. I hope you have a lot of fun. Stack more millions. I'm not going to fault you for that. Everything you're doing is about put your hand down. But I'm no longer putting him in the category of a Bitcoiner. You can't tell me that you're here for the broader mission of separating state from money and then pull this kind
Oh no!
This is a,
Oh, you got
I
you're
cut
good.
out right in the rant. Okay.
Okay.
back it up here.
time.
Let's rewind a little bit.
City
Yeah,
of
you watch
London
it,
at it
Walker.
again. I can't believe
Apparently, I got MSTR working on my servers with their operating business because that's the issue too, right? This would never be an issue. You could also borrow against the Bitcoin if you didn't have to put out some 11% dividend. If you had a successful operating business that then accumulated as a treasury asset and treated as so. But we had this greater, like, why isn't he? We talk about Manhattan real estate. Bitcoin is Manhattan real estate. Then why aren't you borrowing against your treasury in order to fund it? It's like, because you can't, I don't think the numbers will pencil because you don't have enough operating income from the actual business to keep this going. So I think this is peak Saylor. I think he would still have a big one.
Borrowing against his Bitcoin. How has he been raising capital?
No, I mean, like, so he's talking about selling the Bitcoin in order to fund the dividends. So if we have to sell the Bitcoin at some point in time, which again, if you hadn't put that narrative, said he's going, okay, if you come out after all the years of saying never sell your Bitcoin and then say we might sell it at some point to inoculate the market, it's because you're already planning to. And I actually don't think that he's planning to within like a bear market sort of scenario. I think what he's looking at is how much goddamn money he's raising selling Stretch, right? That this is his product offering and it's working great. And I think he has every intent. You got about, I think it's 2.25 billion in cash reserves right now, about 18 months of runway. We all know where things are going. It's looking pretty good for Bitcoin right now. We're all talking about over 100K, maybe a new all-time high. I think he's setting the stage so that he can sell Bitcoin when price rips to fund the Stretch dividend. So he can keep this Ponzi-esque thing going forward. I think this is all about boosting those cash flows. He got 18 months left. I don't think he wants to continue to dilute shares with the preferreds. So I think he's getting ready to stack the treasury with US dollars. I'm not sure, Walker, how you feel about cuck bucks, but here on the show, we generally don't like them. I think he's looking to stack.
Have access to your Canadian.
This might be the last. This might be the last episode we do. I can't believe this.
Fuck friendships, apparently. But the last thing I'll say, I love you too. The last thing I'll say that actually is a real positive out of this is that I think it tells us that the Bitcoin Treasury Company story is completely done. They needed the never sell Bitcoin as part of the Treasury Company play. We saw everybody fall off the books, but I think even MSTR, MicroStrategy Strategies narrative going forward is not a Bitcoin Treasury Company story. I think it's a Bitcoin credit story. It's something else. Like, I think almost like the shitcoin ICO phase, we're moving into the next kind of fintech Bitcoin bullshit. And the treasury play is completely done. If the king of Bitcoin treasury companies is saying, hey, I might sell a little, I think it's over. Walker, do you have anything to respond with, or we can go right to Brandon?
I'm sure I think we could just go to break right here.
It's actually so funny because
Nathan
controls like the order of speakers in the back chat, so he can just cut the whole thing off.
If my mic and my camera goes off, it's Nathan. Just so you guys know. Okay, here's my thought.
Okay.
Let me
Let's do it.
Okay, let me start with a question. Have you ever sold Bitcoin, Nathan?
I spent it. And I'll make that clear distinction. But I also never publicly said never sell your Bitcoin.
But I'm curious, why did you do that? Was it
because I had other things that I valued?
You had to benefit your family?
100%.
So did you have a duty to your family?
But yes, he has a fiduciary duty to his shareholders. Not disagreeing.
Could you please not take the words out of my mouth?
Sorry.
If you're going to let me go, you were supposed to say yes, and then I was going to follow with that.
Sorry, you're asking questions. I'm getting all ramped up. It's a beer night. I love it.
Okay, so here's what I'll say. Yes, you're exactly right. Like, you have a duty to provide for your family. You're willing to dispose of Bitcoin for that reason. Michael Saylor has a duty to MSTR shareholders, right? He is responsible for creating shareholder value. He has that fiduciary duty. His responsibility is not to Bitcoin holders. Now, we can debate about whether or not he should have said sell your kidney for Bitcoin and never sell your Bitcoin, and all of this. Personally, I don't think he's sold any of his Bitcoin. I guarantee he hasn't sold any of his personal Bitcoin, right? Like, wait, what'd you say, Sessions?
I said, or his kidneys.
Or his kidneys. He's still got both. I'm sure
good distinction, though, Walker. You're right.
But like, I guarantee you, he has not sold any of his personal Bitcoin because he does not need to. But people don't buy MSTR because they want, like, you're buying MSTR because you think MSTR is going to outpace Bitcoin's performance. That is why you buy MSTR. Everything that he does needs to be in service of his shareholders. You literally, like, if he doesn't do that, he gets in trouble. That's kind of like the whole thing about being a publicly traded company. And I think, maybe a couple other notes here. You said, like, slay your heroes, whatever. Do you think that Saylor and Strategy have been and are a net positive or a net negative to Bitcoin overall?
The story is not done. Net positive for sure right now. My biggest
Okay.
concern would be the custody aspect of the Bitcoin moving forward.
Yeah,
So
but
like no proof
okay,
of
that-
reserves, and if some shady shit happens down. But currently, I would say net positive for both narrative and adoption.
Okay. Okay. So we can agree. I agree. I agree with you there too. Do you think he will have more, or do you think, I mean, not he, do you think Strategy will have more or less Bitcoin today, or excuse me, in 10 years, will they have more or less Bitcoin then than they do today?
Interesting. I may make a case for less at some point. Meaning
I'm
that
not
like in
saying-
terms
I'm
of
not, no, I'm
no,
not saying at some point. I'm not saying at some point. I'm saying 10 years
10
in
years.
the future.
okay, in 10 years, I would actually guess less. More in
You
terms
think
of
they
USD.
will have less Bitcoin in 10 years than they do today?
Correct.
You want to take that bet?
Wow.
Totally do. How would we do it?
Okay. Yeah. I don't, 69 cents.
Can you denominate it in Canadian dollars?
Yeah. Okay. So, okay. Another thing I will say here, it seems to be very clear. Like, again, you can say that like, no, he's going to sell his Bitcoin. He's going to sell all this Bitcoin. First of all, you mentioned like the amount that Bitcoin needs to appreciate each year for them to be able to service their, it's like, if Bitcoin only does that, like, I don't know, we're all fucking wrong, right? Like we're literally all wrong.
What was
If
the
Bitcoin-
number, Nate?
It was like
like
2 point something percent
Okay.
per year, which is like, if Bitcoin does that, like we are all going to be pissed
Yeah.
at the CEO of Bitcoin, right? Who is not Michael Saylor. Again, he's the chairman of MicroStrategy. He's very obviously positioning to try and get S&P 500 inclusion. I think this just seems really obvious. He's also trying to get whatever AAA or whatever the fucking rating is on STRC, right? He's trying to do all these things, and he's signaling to investors that, look, I am willing. I'm not some crazy Bitcoin Puritan. I'm willing to sell some of the Bitcoin if it will benefit my shareholders, which is the whole reason I exist as a chairman of a publicly traded company. Like, he is not the fucking chairman of Bitcoin. He's the chairman of Strategy. His job, his literal only job, is to create shareholder value. That is it. He has done that through Bitcoin, which turns out to be the best vehicle on the planet to do so. And you can look at the performance of MSTR to see that. But that is what his job is. You don't have to like it. You don't have to accept it. But that is what his duty is. That is what his job is. He is trying to get S&P 500 inclusion. He's also, I think, trying to subvert the Ponzi narrative that's gotten thrown out there by a lot of people about STRC. There's too much happening in the back chat and the front chat. Okay. I think he's also trying to subvert this Ponzi narrative and say, like, look, it's not a Ponzi. If I need to, I'll do it. Like, I not have to, but if I need to, I will. If it makes sense for my shareholders, I will do this. Like, to me, this isn't that surprising. Like, and again, we agree that he's a net positive for Bitcoin. I think it would be very, very, very difficult to make the case that Saylor and MSTR Strategy are a net negative for Bitcoin. I don't think anybody could make that case convincingly, right? Like, that's a difficult one to even straw man. He's done incredible things for adoption. He's also a Hoover fucking vacuum for coins, right? If he sells some of those coins, does that somehow make him a net negative for Bitcoin? I don't think so. I think that he's doing what he needs to do. I guarantee he's not selling any of his personal Bitcoin. I guarantee his only goal is to create value for shareholders and create one of the most profitable fucking moonshot companies on the planet. I think that's what he's doing. You don't have to like that he said that he's like, oh, slay your heroes. He said he wasn't going to sell Bitcoin. Now he's saying they may think about selling Bitcoin. It's like, who fucking cares? Do you think that his understanding of Bitcoin has changed? Do you think that he now looks at Bitcoin like, well, I'm selling it because I don't think Bitcoin's going to succeed? No, he's selling it because he wants to make sure his company still succeeds and continue to hoover up Bitcoin for the next century. This man thinks in very long terms. I would just say, like, again, you don't have to like it. You don't have to accept it. But this is what you should be doing. And more importantly, what you should be publicly signaling. Maybe they will sell some Bitcoin. And I guarantee they'll buy it back. And they'll buy more and more. They've stated that their goal is to increase Bitcoin per share. That is what they are going to do through whatever means are necessary. End of rant.
Okay,
I just
good
need
rant.
to say really quick, the chat today is spicy AF. I've got there are some strong opinions out there. Walker, apparently you're about to start defending Solana. And also,
nope, Solana's a centralized shitcoin run by a centralized corporation. Ethereum's a shitcoin run by a centralized corporation. Those are all shitcoins. Am I
Joey
clear?
has barely even talked this episode, and somebody in the chat already is like,
someone said I gotta go. I gotta be off the program.
Get Joey out of here, and then I might watch. Too late. You're already watching.
All right, Walker, I agree with everything that you said. I think we're more or less the disagreement comes with the maybe the public messaging, something along those lines, and also I think there's a difference in mission. So like my personal attachment to Bitcoin, which is personal, it's mine, it's not everybody's, is different than I think his and his overall goals, right? The one question that I want to throw to you quickly, and it is yes, no, you don't have to go into detail. You can if you like, because I keep Joey from talking, because it's stopping him from going, is as someone that does hold MSTR, if I'm not mistaken, were you surprised by this? I did. I was pretty sure it came up on a stream at some point, so maybe you don't. But I thought you said
I do own MSTR, yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
I absolutely do. Yeah.
As a MSTR shareholder, were you surprised by these comments?
No. And this actually dovetails into Joey being a cuck earlier in one of our private chats, talking about how Bitcoiners need to be very careful with their messaging that they put forward externally, because we can't just give away the fact that we're subverting the fucking state here with this. Joey, did you one word answer, please? Did you or did you not say essentially that?
Debatable.
Nope, you did. We have it on record. I have the audio recording of you saying it.
I already sent it to the journalist.
Yes, thank you. The point being that Bitcoiners need to be very careful about how they message externally, because some people may get the wrong idea. Nathan, you brought up earlier the whole thing with Saylor saying like Bitcoin's not competing with the US dollar. Why do you think he's saying that? Why do you think he's saying that? If he truly understands Bitcoin, which I think all of us know that he does, I think anyone listening who's thinking that Saylor just doesn't get Bitcoin, man, then I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you, but I promise you he does. This is messaging. This is PR. He may sell some Bitcoin, but the point of saying this stuff in a fucking earnings call is messaging, right? The message matters more than the action in this case. That's all Wall Street is signaling, right? That's why all these fucking AI companies are raising so much money. It's all signaling. That's what all of this game is. Bitcoin is external from that. And that is why I will never recommend anybody buy MSTR or buy any other stock or buy anything else besides Bitcoin, because that's the only thing I can confidently recommend to people who have trusted me with their time. I may mess around with some of these things. I don't think you should. You should do whatever the fuck you want. But like, you have to understand that this is messaging, and the audience is not you. The audience that Saylor is speaking to is not any of us right here. Maybe it's me as an MSTR shareholder, but that's not his audience here. He's signaling higher. He's signaling higher. You need to understand that.
I will withhold my comments and pass it to Joey. Go ahead, buddy.
Walker, I am also an MSTR shareholder, by the way.
You guys have something in common.
Yeah. So we share that in
Chat
common.
goes wild.
I want to like introduce just the idea here that there's a lot of outflows that Saylor has to account for that I think people don't talk about, because Stretch has taken center stage over the last like 4 months for sure, but maybe even longer than that. He's paying out quarterly on Strike about 100 million. He's paying out quarterly on Strife about 100 million. He's paying quarterly on Strive about 120. He's paying quarterly on Stream about 90, and he's paying monthly on Stretch, totaling about $1 billion a year. So he's got a lot of outflows that he needs to take care of. I am with Walker on the take that he has a fiduciary responsibility, and that fiduciary responsibility extends not only to what he does with the balance sheet, but also to what he says on the calls. I think he is trying to socialize the hate a little bit. I've had this opinion for a while, by putting Fong out there more than he puts himself out there on the earnings call from time to time. Fong takes questions. Fong is the sort of, figurehead of the company. And whether that's, a strategy, no pun intended, that they're trying to deploy to keep people off of Mike a little bit, maybe not. I would say it's not working. I want to talk about this idea of have to sell. This is the core sort of issue at the table here. When does he have to sell? And what does have to sell mean? Does he have to sell because of a financial obligation? Or does he have to sell because he's maybe the last big bear argument from people who hold the accumulation of Bitcoin against MicroStrategy and against Bitcoin, the asset? I would say that the second one is more likely why he would sell. He can message anything he wants. He can message something that makes sense to the finance bros and say, I'm going to accumulate Bitcoin, I'm going to let it appreciate, and then I'm going to sell it at a higher price to pay my dividend. That makes sense to finance people. Finance people, by the way, to your point, Walker, don't necessarily view Bitcoin the way we do as a long-term hodl or hodl. They view it as a quick asset to trade on, I don't know, thematic changes in the market, risk on changes in the market, whatever. These guys have been doing this with a lot of stuff for a long time. We're not new in that regard to them. I think it's unfair to say that I think, Nate, you said you don't view Saylor as a Bitcoiner anymore. Did I hear that right?
Yeah, my context would be
Is he running BIP 110?
Walker.
I just wonder.
Okay.
I just wonder if like
No.
I just
What I
yeah,
mean
okay,
is
tell
that
me, tell me.
I so
What about
right,
Trump's hoarding chess? Might as well just bring it all together.
I would say on those comments, it's more or less like I think his mission is MSTR. It's MicroStrategy. That's what he's doing. He thinks Bitcoin is a vehicle to do that, and he's working out. I don't think he's here to separate money from state. I don't think he's here for the broader freedom mission, and that's what I'm grouping in. I know it's a no true Scotsman kind of fallacy, but what I'm grouping is like, does he really give a shit about like the open source stage, or is he more paying attention to the
No,
suits that put this on the treasury book, right?
I don't think you're necessarily like 100% correct, but I do take issue with that statement. More or less, he is more or less. I think Walker and I agree on this. He's been the best thing for Bitcoin that Bitcoin has seen. It's not like Andreas Antonopoulos. It's not, these other guys who are making content. It's not Ben, right, with 250,000 subs or whatever he's got doing videos on self-custody. It's this guy. Now, we may disagree on whether or not it's good or bad that he's been the best thing for Bitcoin, both in terms of publicity and in terms of his willingness to metabolize buys at any price every week on a schedule forever and ever. Amen. But this is the way things are. Now, I'll say one more thing.
I'll jump in super quick,
go.
but that's
Yeah.
specifically referring just to the price denominated in USD.
Yeah,
I can't argue with that if you're setting the measurement of price denominated in USD.
Yeah, he buys no matter
I
what
think
the
in
price
terms
is.
of adoption as well too, is brand recognition probably there as well too. But it's also a major centralizing force pushing people away from actually using it for money, for medium of exchange, right? They're treating it like quote unquote just this capital asset. And that's where that's where I've long kind of taken issue.
Stopping anyone from using it, grow some balls and use it. I bet half the people complaining about Saylor right now have never actually spent Bitcoin on jack shit. Like probably don't even zap Bitcoin on
if
those.
you've never used your Bitcoin,
if you've never used Bitcoin as money,
then fuck you. But
yeah, agreed. If you've never watched a BTC Sessions tutorial or talk to Bitcoin Mentor.
Damn, I'm not so quick on the trigger today.
No, but really, like if you are not using Bitcoin as a medium of exchange and you're shitting on Saylor, like check yourself.
Yeah,
correct. You have to correct. You have to be the example first.
I want to say one more thing before we get carried away.
It.
Brandon's still here. Thank you for sticking around, Brandon.
I'm already carried away.
Yeah, I want to say one more thing. I think the reason you're seeing this commentary now is because he's got, like, Saylor and MSTR have a significant maturity wall coming, not in 27, but starting in 28 and 29. So I'm looking at the numbers here. In 28, they owe about $1 billion on those converts. And I don't think, given the amount he's diluting, that people are gonna want that in stock. Okay, so that's one thing to consider. In 29, that number jumps from 1 billion to 3 billion. And then he's got another almost 3 billion in 2030. Now he's got nothing past 2030. He's got to make it through those 3 years. Those are the years everybody's been talking about. All these guys in TradFi talking about how he's not going to be able to make his payments on those converts are talking about that wall. My suspicion is that he's going to let this comment settle for 1.5 years. And then in 28, he's going to make his first sale. And the argument is going to be, I had to do this to pay the dividend. We're still holding. We've accumulated every year. We're going to buy again, next week or 2 weeks from now, whatever the schedule ends up being at that time. And Bob's your uncle. My assumption to the question that you guys traded blows on there about is he going to have more in a decade or less in a decade? I think I would say more, because at the end of the day,
what?
Yeah, I think I would say more. Like I think he's probably in a position to continue to acquire if Bitcoin continues to allow the flywheel to exist. I'm not going to talk about MNAV, though that's obviously a core principle here as well. If he stays above, he's only like 1.2 or something right now, 1.2, 1.3. He's still buying. So it's not like he's worried about the thin kind of layer of protection he's got. He's got conviction, if nothing else. Everything as far as like the price of Bitcoin, whatever, if we get 8% CAGR, 10% CAGR, that's pretty conservative, I would say, given the direction like the sort of fiat monetary system is continuing to rip. I don't have a problem with him making a sale. And I do think that he is maybe the last best argument from the most vocal bears about the Bitcoin price. If he sells, it's over. Let's fucking see then if he sells, what happens. That's the next big thing for us. We got to do it at some point. Let's just do it. Rip the Band-Aid off.
Brandon, you've been very quiet.
This is incredible chat. I mean, I don't even know if I should comment or not. Again, I appreciate the passionate chat here on both sides. That's what makes Bitcoin great at the end of the day. And we can't even have these conversations in the normal world, which is sad. So that is great. Again, keep your coin safe with self-custody. I mean, this is like super simple. And these chats are great because it does affect us. Obviously, Saylor stacking affects Bitcoiners if they're in self-custody. And also, if there's shenanigans and 6102s and craziness going on, that affects us as well. So, I mean, there's a reason that, we're passionate about it. I want to rid the world of satanic pedophiles more than anyone else, maybe just as much as the next guy. We'll say that. So no amount of paper, Bitcoin or anything, the scam coins, whatever, MicroStrategy, doesn't matter. It's not going to sway me. And I know the guys here too. That's the first and foremost. And that's why this chemistry works here and a lot of people in the chat. So I think I speak for basically everyone, probably for sure in the show, but also the chat. In saying that, I think a lot of the problem that I see with the fighting going on is like almost the two ships passing in the night type of phenomenon going on, where there's people's time horizon is all over the place, right? Like what's so hard about all this is that everyone has a different time horizon. Everyone's life is different. Their experience is different. How they grew up, what they come into tomorrow. No next day is a given. And I think that's where a lot of people, everyone's revolutionary mindset is either there or it's not there, or maybe it's I might want to grab the musket, maybe I don't. And that's where my revolutionary mindset is very high. And so like a lot of this stuff doesn't appetize me, all the Wall Street stuff. It's one of the reasons I got out of the legacy world in the first place. I had real estate businesses. I was in gold and silver. I was doing them, reading the prospectuses and doing all this garbage. And then you kind of look around and realize, why am I doing this at the end of the day? Why am I trusting a CEO that's going to be this one day and he's going to change the next day and he's going to, he's going to pass away. He's going to hit by a bus. These are the reasons that you came to Bitcoin in the first place. So I think it's, again, first principles first, and thinking about that, I think is huge. Now, in saying all that, again, Saylor could be the greatest guy in the world. And this is like the two things can be true. 10 things, 100 things can be true. And I think that, again, what's really hard is we've all been taught, many of us, most of us, government-run schooling, that there's only one answer. There's one right answer on the Scantron. Saylor could look like and be the greatest guy on earth. And maybe in 10 years, 50 years, he is. Maybe he speculatively attacks $1 and it all works out. What's the trust you have in the government? You must trust the government ad infinitum. And the custody solution that Saylor is using. And maybe it all works out. Maybe everything is fine. And also it might not. And I think that's just the game that's being played here. And this is where we've talked about this many times. I've talked about this many times. The memes cut both ways. And you guys kind of laid it out already too, that the memes are great getting into Bitcoin, people getting in, just never sell your Bitcoin. And you name them, pretty much every single one. But once you're in Bitcoin, then it changes. If you're living on a Bitcoin standard, well, guess what? You got to sell Bitcoin. Yet you're living on Bitcoin. This is what we talked about. Ben and Nathan have talked about this for a long time, done millions of videos on this very thing. You can live outside the system right now. You can be private right now. So a lot of these things, like we do kind of miss the forest from the trees at times. And it makes me think of Matteo, let's end with this, with Matteo Pellegrini that runs Club Orange. And he was pissed when I interviewed him a few months ago. And he was like, Saylor should have to sell his yacht in order to accrue Bitcoin. He should not be able to play the markets and do this. And I hold that opinion And that's the visionary mindset. And I think that's a lot of us Bitcoiners. And I think it's tough for us because we literally live in multiple worlds. And that's what's so hard. And I think it wreaks havoc. I know, again, just speaking from my own experience, that is very hard. Some days I'm all pissed off. And some days I'm like, yeah, we're going to win. Let's go. And it's just like this back and forth that we have to live in, and understanding that, yes, should Saylor in a perfect world have to sell his yacht in order to accrue more Bitcoin? Yes. But do we also, it's what I just thought about with Mike Green on my podcast the other day, do we also have to live in a world where these capital markets are there, and game theory suggests that someone's going to say, well, you know what, I could use this system against itself, and I could get this, Bitcoin credit, I could create credit, I could do all these things, and I could use this system against itself and play games with it? Yeah. And that's what Saylor's doing at the end of the day. So the story is yet to be written, like you guys kind of mentioned, and I love the fighting. I think we should just let the boys kind of fight the rest of the time. And so to me, again, that's the satanic pedophiles have to go. So however the best way to do that is, I'm not going to say I know which the best way is. I think it is the self-custody route, staying away from all the shenanigans. But hey, that's just one man's.
The best part about this panel is everybody's very, very heated in the chat, and even people on Twitter are having a field day. Just like the mere mention of like crucifying Savior Saylor or simping for Saylor, like everybody just loses their goddamn mind. The best part about this is we've got a variety of opinions in this room, and yeah, we're having at her right now, but at the end of the day, we're all still friends. So,
opinions are like assholes, guys.
That's right, man.
Everybody wants 4.
There's 5 of them in this room. Yeah, 100%.
Oh boy. Not go where I thought it was going.
That's good. That's good.
With that said, if you're watching this, if you've got in my opinion, if you got a choice between either Bitcoin or something where you need trust, I think Bitcoin is I think all of us would lean towards Bitcoin is the best option there. But people are going to choose what to do with their own money, and so be it. I think I just view this as a mechanism for Saylor to leech as much Bitcoin as possible through the traditional system, right? Like it's a mechanism. He's able to build a stack. He does have fiduciary duties. And I think there's a degree of like, you got to keep building these fiat products to continue to get people to invest in them to accrue more Bitcoin. And that seems to be his mission. So
he also owns at a minimum 10,000 Bitcoin himself. That was his first purchase, was buying 10,000 Bitcoin. He told Eric Weiss, hey, I bought 10,000 worth. Eric's like, oh, cool. You got 10 grand worth of Bitcoin? He's like, no, 10,000 Bitcoin.
It kind of makes you feel like
that's that conviction.
Shit,
like, like, I don't know what is, like, the guy puts his money where his mouth is.
Yeah.
Don't love him, hate him. Who fucking cares? Buy Bitcoin, hold it in self-custody, spend it and then replace it. If you don't replace it, you've just got too much fiat, right?
Yeah. And by the way, I did a quick poll. Do you use Bitcoin as money in the chat?
Half the chat is never spent Bitcoin. Okay, what are we talking about?
Opinion rejected. Opinion
break.
fucking rejected.
Oh my
so
I love you guys in the chat, but you're missing part of the whole experience at the very least, and the ethos in the worst case. Like, I don't know, man.
I encourage you. I very much encourage you to go out, try and find other local Bitcoiners and frequent them if they're offering goods and services, especially if they're quality goods and services, because if you spend Bitcoin on somebody who makes something subpar, you will never frequent them again because your money actually matters. Yeah. But if you find somebody that offers an incredible product or service or whatever it is, then absolutely spend your Bitcoin with them, because not only are you finding somebody like-minded, but you're also helping bolster somebody who may be able to save that in a treasury and build their business that is actually quality. And I think with quality money, it changes the dynamic of all the shit products we get today and pushes us towards better ones. So either way, rant over.
You can spend Bitcoin on Nostr and receive it every single day.
Exactly.
You can just do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's really easy, guys.
Yeah, there's options, man. There's options.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to go to break here, but on the other side of the break, a whole bunch of AI-related stuff. We have Anthropic getting into bed with SpaceX, which is interesting because of the dynamic with Elon and Grok and all of that. Joey's stoked because
Love
his
that.
his
My Max
his-
plan is so back, baby.
his
We are so
Max-
back.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to talk about what that is. We've got Larry Fink talking about the idea of tokenizing futures in compute. We've got, again, just like massive constraints on energy right now. I've got some thoughts about where this might lead. And then also we've got OpenAI spying on the Canadian public. And in the same realm of AI, one of the craziest AI generated political ads. Thanks, Walker, for sending that before the show. I've just seen clips of it. I'm gonna watch it in its entirety for the first time when we get on the other side of the break.
Banger.
It looks insane.
Yeah.
Anyways, if you're enjoying the conversation, make sure you drop a like, especially share this wherever you're on socials. We'd love to see it. And we'll be back in just a moment. Bitcoin Well is the best place to be buying and selling Bitcoin in Canada and the US. And now with Bitcoin Well Infinite, it's also the best place to be making large buys at their OTC desk of over $50,000. Their white glove service gives you fast transactions, no slippage, and the lowest fees. You can scan the QR code on the screen or simply head to bitcoinwell.com/BTC Sessions to sign up today. And you can share your own personalized referral link to earn commissions. CoinKite has been in the game for years, creating hands down the best and most secure hardware when it comes to securing your Bitcoin. The Cold Card Q is an absolute powerhouse and my daily driver, and it's ideal for newcomers and advanced users alike. The Tap Signer gives you a low-cost, user-friendly option for those just getting started or for convenience when traveling. You can head to coinkite.com and use code BTC Sessions for discounts, or simply scan the QR code on the screen to get started right away. One company I like pointing people to when they ask about Bitcoin mining is Abundant Mines. They were founded by Bo and Christine Turner after losing over $500,000 to broken promises in the mining industry. And they built their hosting model to remove the usual headaches. With Abundant Mines, you own your machines and keep 100% of the Bitcoin you mine. There's no revenue share, no hidden skims. Pricing is simple. One flat monthly fee covers power, parts, labor, and repairs. They also guarantee uptime. If a machine goes down, their hash rate redirect system routes hash power from their fleet so earnings don't just stop, and every machine is insured at full replacement value. Everything is hosted in the US, powered by Hydro, and mining equipment may qualify for 100% year one bonus depreciation. Learn more at abundantmines.com/sessions. All right, gents, AI section, I guess. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on.
Sure.
Yeah, let's get into it. So Anthropic has agreed to partner with SpaceX, and they said it'll substantially increase Claude's compute capacity and increase its usage limits for users. Under the agreement, Anthropic will use all of the compute capacity at SpaceX's Colossus One data center, providing over 300 megawatts of additional capacity by the end of the month. Another massive AI deal. So this is for people that do use Claude. This is the difference. And like, I know not everybody's kind of up to date on what the hell tokens are and all this stuff, but basically like the input that you can give it is insanely increased. Like from so tokens is just measuring. A token is about, I'd say like what 75% of a word or something like that. It kind of depends, but it's like how much input you're giving it. It's not quite one word per token kind of thing, but close. Anyways, 30,000 to 500,000 for the lower tiers, 2 million to 10 million. So basically you're 5xing your compute on the top end without any additional cost. And then the output looks like it's, geez, it depends on the tier. 10x.
It's insane. It's an insane jump for like users of the pro and max level stuff. It is an insane jump. And it's like you said, it's free. You already pay whatever you're paying, you keep paying it. It's unbelievable. That's a huge deal.
Moore's law.
Yeah. And so the interesting thing here is I think, and actually maybe I'll show this other clip that Simon Dixon shared with Larry Fink here talking about compute. I want to play this, and then I want to kind of comment on where I think we're headed in general with energy.
The United States is short power, we're short compute, we're short chips, and there are going to be shortages in all three, and memory, 4 things. I actually believe a new asset class will be buying futures of compute. We just don't have enough compute power right now.
I think that climate hysteria and clamping down on energy usage is out the fucking window now. I think that whole narrative is toast.
Yeah.
We were joking before the show, and I can't remember which one of you it was. It's like, we were saying like, oh, I think it was you and me, Nathan, we were talking. And it's like, oh, they're going to boil the oceans. And so we're going to stop all this compute. And like, now you can't use Claude and everything. And people are going to be like, well, now I have to do my work by hand. Like there's no going back when you can type a prompt in and like what would have taken you hours is spit out in a few minutes and you can focus on other shit. People are not going to want to go back to that. And so now, again, the bottleneck is energy. And this is what everybody wants. And Bitcoin got shat on for a long time in the mining space because people weren't necessarily themselves exposed because they don't understand the value yet. And they don't, like, economics is a difficult thing to grapple with in monetary systems. But people understand this makes my life much, much easier with a lot of the stuff that I have to do. And you're trying to take it away from me. And they're going to say, they're going to start to, this opens the door to them questioning, are we like, where's the data showing that we're actually ruining the planet? Because people, when it doesn't directly affect them, they're willing to feel like a martyr. And yeah, I'm gonna do these things, and I'm gonna poo-poo on these companies for using lots of energy. But when all of a sudden your Claude subscription gets rug pulled because there's not enough energy, they're gonna be mighty pissed. I think this is out the fucking window. What do you guys think?
I agree. The weather is going to change no matter what we do, no matter how many tokens I use. And I think that people are starting to realize that the temperature is not tied to token use. So great. That's good. Can I just point
Or
to,
CO2.
Yeah, or CO2. That's right. It's not tied to anything. Can I just point, I'm going to channel my inner Desperate Housewives of whatever gossip train here. Gossip train. Now, the background between Elon, Altman, OpenAI. OpenAI was supposed to be, as the name implies, a not-for-profit AI sort of powerhouse that was going to help commoditize this sort of compute and give it to people to help with productivity and bring on this EAC type future where everyone is just ultra productive, has more free time to spend with their families, blah, blah, blah. And Altman and the boys over there decided they wanted to go for profit, and their biggest investor, Musk, didn't want to do it. So they basically removed them from the board via some, maybe not illegal, but I would say dirty tactics. Leaked some stories about him. I'm 100% sure that all these stories about his baby mamas came as part of that issue. And so Elon now, we have not seen the cost of this 100,000 H100 warehouse. 100,000 H100s is an ungodly amount of compute. It is like an unbelievable, truly lives up to the name Colossus. Okay. What do you want to bet that he is leasing or renting those under market value? My guess is he probably is, and probably could have got more money for those. He wants those guys taken down. He's moved all of the XAI compute to Colossus 2, and XAI put out another model iteration today as well. So you have a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes in terms of just like the T, as the kids call it. Then you have the actual AI stuff. Okay. There is a bottleneck in power. There's no longer a bottleneck in basically anything else. Everything can be, manufactured, distributed, all this stuff, if we agree that we have a priority here and power is the fix. it's funny that the hardware jam, not only in graphics cards, but basically everywhere, has been so tight over the last year. Do you know how much money you would have if you put $25,000 into SanDisk, making the, you know,
The RAM
cards,
and the- yeah.
jam into your cold card? If you put $25,000 in SanDisk a year ago, you know how much you'd have today? $1 million fucking dollars.
Holy shit.
So to give you an idea of how tight that hardware market is, very tight. Okay, tighter than a nun on Sunday. And these guys have no interest in giving that money back. But what they are interested in giving back is some of the availability of the software side, the AI compute side to people. This is how they're going to do it. They're going to start leasing. They're going to start buying. They're going to start expanding. I'm very curious as to, we don't often talk about like power generation on this show. Why would we? But there's clearly a need for additional clean, easy to spin up power. And so like small modular reactors on the nuclear side, pretty easy to do. I think a lot of people who are underinformed on nuclear, sort of these low resolution, I'm afraid of nuclear types, don't understand two things. One, nuclear, you know, per kilowatt hour is the safest energy on the planet, safest thing we've ever come up with. There's no doubt about that. But the bigger thing is that most people think that nuclear needs to be spun up near bodies of water because bodies of water are often part of the cooling process. Not true anymore. You can spin up with salt as the coolant, which is huge. So you have these smaller reactors, salt as the coolant, very safe, and prevents some of this, you know, power jamming we've seen where you have these high school gyms full of angry people who are paying 50% more on their hydro bill because, you know, Walker is making ChatGPT draw pictures of himself, half horse, half man.
You guys call it hydro.
4 or 5 times a
opinion
day.
rejected.
Keep it to yourself over there, Yank.
Called oil.
This is the thing that's happening all over the place. And I think that more and more people are going to start to realize that nuclear is a part of this solution and that AI, like someone in the chat said, perfect timing, not a bubble, man. This thing is going to start being it is going to be the moat between people who are productive, advancing careers, advancing businesses, building things. We all use it. I'm sure you guys in the chat, you know, listening, watching, use it too. The people who don't use it in your life, you know, what are they? They're either boomers who have, you know, already done they've handled their contributions to society and the economy and they're not interested in it, or people who are just like, I don't want to do it because it's going to take my job, or I think it's slop, or I think it's whatever. These two groups, the canyon between them is going to expand. And I think as power becomes more readily available, you're just going to see this ramp up, man. It's going to be wild to watch and wild to be a part of.
Brandon?
Yeah, no, this is really, again, this goes back to the last couple of weeks, last month. I've never been more bullish, whether it was, you know, it started with the Strait of Hormuz and Iran accepting Bitcoin, the Claude stuff coming out. I forget the exact inflection point then with Claude and with AI and what was going on. But it just makes me think of Internet of Things. And it does also make me think of the debate of where's the cutoff at some point, you know, like the limitless drug. There is going to be this rupture in society, or like CBDCs and slavery, or and UBI, or Bitcoin and freedom. We're going to have it in some of these worlds too, where like the world is, I don't think any of us, I mean, I'm not ready for the world we're going to be entering where it's like people are, hey, I'm going to put this in my body, or I'm going to do these things to my body. I'm going to genetically engineer or modify things, my kids or whatever. It makes me think of all
like
that.
Peptides.
Yeah. And it's wild. I mean,
guy.
the one thing that's it's sad in a way, because money is the biggest of all these. Money is not an input in the system. Money is the system. And that's what's really sad about this. I can't help but think about that, not to be doom and gloom, because the AI stuff right now is just unbelievable. It's amazing what people can do now. And I'm a huge proponent of it. But at the same time, I think of, and I mentioned this the other day about a level 10 vehicle. Bitcoin is a level 10 vehicle. It is the system. You know, energy, Bitcoin, they're synonymous. They are the system. They account for the entire system. And people get caught up in the AI, kind of going back to the Saylor thing in the sense of the investing part of it. Like people get caught in the micro sometimes, where Bitcoin is a system. What's the greatest way? The greatest trade you can make in AI is buying Bitcoin. And so if you want to capture everything that's happening in AI, all you gotta do is buy Bitcoin. And that's the beautiful thing about everything we do here. And so the sad part is that money happens slower and that connections are harder to make, because people, like you guys made a great point, that people see the AI change and they're not going back. The toothpaste is out of the tube. And it just makes me think of, man, how do people not see that with money? Like my I just keep getting better. My everything, I get more time back because Bitcoin is time, and Bitcoin is energy, and time is Bitcoin. And so like that connection is what I can't stop thinking about, of how people can see it so quickly with AI, obviously, and it's a very quick feedback loop, but it's such a long feedback loop in many ways with money that people can't see it. And Bitcoin is even bigger. It literally accounts for all the AI, it accounts for all the energy, it accounts for all the things that are going on, the communication layer of society. And so being that level 10 Bitcoin, this is why we talked about like altcoins for so long. It's like, okay, you're going to be like a faster, you're going to be XRP, you're going to be some other, Ethereum. Well, even if those things worked and they just ran forever and no one attacked them and they were fine, that's still a very small market cap you're taking out of the whole pie of $900 trillion in assets, where Bitcoin is the pie. It's the entire thing, and it accounts for all 900 trillion at the end of the day. And that's where you're getting in these little vehicles and trying to, just playing the slot machine and hoping your thing wins. And it's a $1 trillion market cap, 5 trillion, maybe 10 max with a lot of these things. AI could be a different story where it gets bigger or whatever. But that to me is some of these macro things that I think about, instead of siloing yourself off, where it's like you could just be in Bitcoin and get the production, all the human progress and everything. So that to me is interesting. It makes me think of two other things I would throw out to you guys, whoever's next. I can't see the back chat, but is this an admission though? Is it maybe, and Joe, you talked about it, is this an admission of these guys are more in bed together than maybe we think? Or is it Elon, like you said, saying, hey, F you guys, I'm going after you? And then the other thing I thought of too was, you hearing Larry Fink talk, oh my gosh, you can just see like, we need, instead of boiling oceans, we need more energy. We have climate lockdowns because you can't use any energy. You can't go anywhere because we need all that energy. So you're gonna have chip lockdowns, compute lockdowns, energy. I mean, this could get wild, guys. So
did you see that in the Hantavirus letter Twitter account? Is that where you got these lockdown ideas?
It was just the Shores of Hormuz, that one. That's my new one. So love that newsletter.
Walker?
All right. A lot has been said. What I'd say is that it's one of the dumbest things that any country can do to itself. Like Germany shutting off its nuclear power plants is just a generationally idiotic move, right? There are, and I forget who initially penned this idea, it may have been Gladstein, but there are no rich countries that don't use a lot of energy. It's just not possible. Energy usage corresponds to prosperity. How much energy you are using is how prosperous you are. It's literally like a fucking linear relationship, or something close to that. I don't know. I'm not a mathematician. I'm just a humble engineer and a podcaster.
Direct correlation, though. You're right. It's like spot on.
It literally
Human
is. Like,
prosperity.
look at the old dot plot. Like look at that line through there. The point is, like, it is, I think, actually a very good thing that AI is just guzzling up tons of energy, because it's making people realize, oh, hold on, turns out, and like they should have realized this already, yes, right? For all of your modern conveniences, oh, I don't like oil, we shouldn't use oil. Do you like every plastic thing you've ever used? Do you like literally every medical device ever? Do you like every life-saving technology that exists today? It doesn't exist without oil, you dumb fuck. Like, if you want cheap baseload power and clean baseload power, use nuclear energy. And I hope we see a proliferation of this, and I hope that AI is a catalyst for that, so we have a bit of a return to common sense about these things. Joey pointed this out already, so I won't reiterate it, but nuclear energy is safe, is clean. Okay. Oh, Chernobyl. Yeah, okay, thanks, communism. Like that's not a nuclear problem, it's a communist problem, right? And if you're a communist listening to this, well, fuck right off. But I guess point being here, I think that also, let's relate this back to Bitcoin. Bitcoin will continue to be that buyer of last resort. It will continue to be the way that, because we will start generating a lot of excess power. You already need to generate excess power in every grid to make sure that grid is stable, right? Otherwise, like Bitcoin being a demand response vehicle is an incredibly important thing. The whole ERCOT experiment in Texas, not experiment, I mean, it's working, right? Has been, I think, an incredible just case study in how Bitcoin can really work in the real world to balance the load, to achieve flexible demand response. And this is such an important thing. The world is going to wake up to this. So I think there's a symbiosis between AI compute and Bitcoin mining. I think that's going to become even more abundantly clear, right? Because AI, like you got to have the servers on all the time, right? You got to have them on. Like that's the kind of the whole thing. Bitcoin miners can shut off when it becomes unprofitable. That's the beauty of them. They can shut up and they can move to wherever there is cheaper power. This isn't theoretical. We see this all the time. One of the most classic examples was also shutting off when the government cracks down China and moving into the United States, right? Bitcoin miners have this superpower where they are agnostic of location and they have the ability to turn off and on literally at the flip of a switch when it no longer becomes profitable. So I look forward to a future where we have as much AI compute as possible and that demand response is balanced with as much Bitcoin hash rate as possible. That is what abundance looks like, is harnessing as much fucking energy as we can as a species. Like anyone who says like we need to be using less energy is fundamentally anti-human. You're anti-prosperity. And I don't know, like just, I'm just going to say some really mean things. You probably don't have an IQ high enough to even understand what I was about to say. So I'll just leave it at that, right? But like you should want us to use as much energy as is humanly possible and then to use more and more and more. That is a good thing, right? Nuclear power is an incredible, incredible technology that we should be using as much as possible. Like you want to be a Kardashev type 1, 2, 3 species. Like I don't think that happens without Bitcoin. That's my thing. That's what I'm going to, I think Elon Musk also understands that. I think he also doesn't understand that we move up the Kardashev scale without Bitcoin mining. But that's just my little, that's my little backwater conspiracy theory there. I don't know. I'll leave it at that.
Actually, speaking of conspiracy theories, I want to take that for just a second. I don't have too much to say, but one thing I did want to add too is, do you guys remember how like all those people around Hillary Clinton ended up dying? Like just completely coincidence.
Where is this
going? Like 130 of them.
It
was only 130.
Bear with me here, all right? It was only like 130. Just bear with me. I think one thing that we got to keep in mind moving forward, we can have lots of fun with the AI, and I think Ben's got some fun stuff teed up here as well too. But I think this is like political power too. That we're going to see these major players in that space jockeying for control, jockeying for the AI power and the compute. Completely unrelated, former OpenAI researcher and whistleblower found dead at age 26, and I think you might see a little bit more of that because I think even the Larry Finks of the world realize the importance of what's going on here and are vying for ultimate control over it. And to think of the battle between even like Musk and Altman, it's like, hey, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. But Ben, any thoughts?
I mean, okay, so I'll add one little thing here. I think that right now the race is accessing these massive data centers and like individual people are vying to like suckle at the teat of whatever, like whether it's Anthropic or OpenAI or whatever. But I do think that the models are going to get wildly more efficient. And I do think that if you can afford even like a half decent computer, you're going to have access to some incredible, you already do have basically the encyclopedia of human knowledge at your fingertips that can run locally without internet. And so I think that's going to get better and better and better for local AI on decent machines. And that will continue to be the trend. And then you'll only like, I don't know what happens then. What does the average person want to do? And how much more powerful do these data centers become? So it's going to be an arms race, but I do think like you're going to be able to accomplish so much locally. Now that said,
wait, quickly, Ben, if I want to learn more about that, where could I go and subscribe right now?
Very good point, Nathan. You might want to check out this incredible channel called Sovereign Sessions that launches August 1st, and it's going to be specifically where all tutorial content, including Bitcoin, will live. So all Bitcoin content, but also AI and sovereign computing and privacy and private communications, all of that over there. So I announced it down in Vegas, and reception was very warm. So thanks to everybody that watched the talk. But yeah, come join me. It'll start in just under 3 months. So very stoked for it. So Nathan doing my advertising for me.
We're just cramming QR codes into this show, slamming them in.
Everyone's advertising except Ben.
Okay, so one of the dare we say that this is one of the best uses of AI? I haven't watched the whole thing. Yeah, well, yeah.
Right, let's do it.
There we go. Yeah, so this came, Walker, you shared this earlier. I have not watched the whole thing, but apparently it's incredible. This is Spencer Pratt running for, is this mayor of LA or
Mayor
is
of
he?
LA.
Yeah.
Oh, man, Lord. Okay, so AI generated. This shit looks wild from what I've seen. Let's give it a gander.
Please, I'm begging you. There's homeless drug addicts in front of the schools. My children aren't safe.
Look, if you were a transgender migrant, I could get you a free pussy.
Let's move the drug addicts closer.
Bass already solved crime. I endorse her.
Please, I just want to rebuild my home. It's been over a year.
Mom, look.
This is a machine. If we want to burn this town to the ground, pull through that!
I feel so close.
You can do it, Spencer!
Wow.
I love it. I absolutely
Seth
love it.
Rogen
Harris
is
at the
Commissioner
end, too.
Gordon.
Just
Amazing.
what a vibe.
Great.
Just so good. So
We're
good.
getting demonetized for that audio track.
Yeah,
God damn
holy
it.
crap.
Trim
Newsom
segments.
had to do it. He couldn't keep his mouth shut. Holy hell.
Wow.
I mean, I'm okay with some oceans boiling if that's the type of content you get out of it.
Yeah, as an
Man,
aside, like from besides the message, that's a pretty good video for
That is.
pure AI,
Yeah.
right?
Super
I didn't see
nice.
any like bad animations there. Nothing really bad anyway. It's pretty
What
solid.
model was he using? That's
I'd
what I
be
wanna
curious.
know.
Yeah, we gotta find
geez.
out.
Wow.
Like I
That's
love
amazing.
this. Like this
Oh.
shift you want to see, right? You want to see the like this is now democratizing propaganda. And let's be honest, like I say I say propaganda in a good way because everything is propaganda. What we're doing right now is propaganda. Everything is propaganda. And the question is it propaganda that is anti-human and anti-civilization and anti-Western culture and
man.
anti-Americanism? Or Canadianism.
No,
Whatever.
it's
Thank
fine.
you.
They're Americans too,
Just
though.
Americanism.
Yeah,
Don't
America.
worry about
okay.
it.
Boy, as soon as I said it, it just rolled off the tongue weird.
The Americas.
Or is it pro-human, pro-civilization, pro-Western culture, pro-common sense? That's what you want to see. And now somebody who is like an upstart, I think he was like an actor or something else.
He was on the
in the
Hills, Walker.
Hills,
Yeah,
like,
reality
In
show.
the hills. Sorry. Oh wait, that's that same guy?
yeah.
Yeah.
I never watched The Hills, but now it's like it's
Same
ringing a
guy.
bell.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Phew, shit, man. That's fantastic, though. You want to be able to have like low cost propaganda competing with regime propaganda and being better. And this is another great thing. And last thing I'll say on it, ending rant. This is like leftist. This is why we say like Democrats can't meme in the US, but it's generally like leftists can't meme. They can't meme because they don't have truth on their side. Their memes aren't funny because they're lies. When they try to meme, it's like they put way too many words in there. They try to throw all these things, and you're just like, you just sound stupid, right? And this is
'Cause
why
they are
like,
the leftists.
they are leftists. Like you've got to be pretty stupid to be a democratic socialist or a communist or just a socialist in the year 2026. It's like, oh, you like the murder of hundreds of millions of people? Well, fuck you right off. Anyway, I'll leave it at that.
Isn't it funny that too? Like, I listened to Pratt was on Rogan a few weeks ago, April, like beginning of April, maybe something like that. And so I went back and listened to it today, actually, before I even knew we were going to do this. That guy's a real dude, you know. Listening to him talk, like he's saying things that all of us as parents would think and say. Like, I don't want to drive my kid to school and see like drug addicts fucking each other on the sidewalk. I don't want to drive my kid to school and see like dogs with their eyes stapled shut by these people. I don't want to go through parts of town that used to be huge for businesses and restaurants and nightlife and sort of like the fruit of what it is to be like a social being is just gone. And you know where he's doing it from? Unlike all these other guys like Bass and, Kamala and Newsom, the sort of like, Cali leftists that we talk about all the time, he's doing it from his burnt out property with a trailer on it now because his house burnt down in the Palisades fire. So this guy is like doing it in the most honest way from the most honest place. And I hope the guy wins. I don't have a lot of conviction that he's going to win because that's a big machine he's up against there. But man, it is good to see Walker. I know Nathan was probably going to say it, but I'll beat him to it. The democratization of propaganda. Put it on the shirts, man.
Palisades fire started by a leftist also.
Palisades fire on the show.
Not climate change, guys.
No.
Never talked about. The
craziest thing is that there's records in California about how that Palisades fire actually started New Year's Eve and was a rekindling issue a week later that they never were able to solve because they just didn't have any fucking money. No money, no firepower, no nothing. Crazy, man.
You guys know what happened in Hawaii by anyone know? And
anyone
I mean, what are we doing? No, it's like, again, like Walker makes a great point. Like literally no one talks about who started that. Why is that? Like, again, there's so many instances of this in the media, the intelligence agency, the Mockingbird, whatever. Remember the shooter in Colorado 15 years ago? Same thing. Hey, he must be a white NRA member. And it's like, oh, cutscene, correction 2 days later, it's like, what are we doing? I mean, it's the same stuff. And this is the thing that people are so sick of over and over again. And this is just managed decline. Like people, Nayib Bukele, he's not perfect. No one is. But again, look at him. He's showing people you don't need managed decline. You can do whatever you want. I mean, at the end of the day, they don't have the U.S. Constitution. They're doing their own thing. I don't know all I'm not an expert in El Salvador. But look, he is showing. That's why they hate him so much. Is he's just showing? No, I can just go clean stuff up. I'll go throw everyone in prison. Guess what? That's kind of an incentive not to do dumb shit. And so here we are in Spencer Pratt showing that. And so the managed decline starts from the top. And this has been decades and decades and decades of policy. It goes back to the climate change. It's global cooling. It's global warming, right? The Malthusians, the Club of Rome, on, right? It goes all the way back. We've talked about this ad nauseum, right? So this to me is this fatalist black pill narrative that you cannot affect any change in the world. I saw in the chat earlier, by the way, which is wild to me that you can't, believe one guy can make a difference. Oh, they can. Ask the guy who ate the Wuhan bat, by the way. You can make a difference. That's a joke, by the way.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
We know.
Wow. Who's supposed to be in charge of making sure we stay on time and get to ads and stuff. I don't know who the fuck that guy is, but thinking about one person making a change and people being absolutely fed up and done with this. Alberta Separatist Group says more than 300,000 have signed the petition. This goes to referendum.
Yes.
We get to actually go this. And this was Mitch Sylvester. This is one dude.
Yeah, one
dude who got out there and made it happen. Because to all of this, regular people are done. They're fucking done.
And the last thing I'll say on all that is just, again, it's that, Nathan. Thank you for bringing that up because it's your attitude. If you're the person that's saying that, not to call him out in the chat, but I just talked to Mike Green about this. We just argued with him. And he's a believer that one person can't make a change. That, you know what? Government money. We just have it. Sorry. Well, guess what? We didn't have government money before. We can change that. It's up to us. At the behest of the government. That's how governments operate. That's how they're supposed to operate. So the fact that people believe that is the reason that we don't change things. It's the circular fighting right? It's the circular loop, the downward spiral down the drain, because people just keep believing the dollar has value. People keep believing abstract power. They keep believing that you can't make a change. Oh, I can't do anything, so I'm not going to do it. Then the next guy believes it, and the next guy, and the next guy. And guess what? Then you don't have any effing change. And here we are.
Yeah. Well, we've still got one more section. We'll keep our eye on the clock here, but on the other side of the break here, we want to chat maybe a little bit more about propaganda. You hear all the time that the economy's never been better, but with the current geopolitical tensions, it would seem that that's not exactly the case. And we've got some sauce on that when we get back. The markets are telling you everything's fantastic, but the average person is maybe not experiencing that. So if you join the conversation, drop a like in the video. Make sure you do give this a good share. The chat has been absolute fire today. We love it.
Like so California.
Thank you, gents. Yes, it's been a California wildfire in the chat. Absolutely. So yeah, we'll see you guys in just a moment. If you're a homeowner and you want more Bitcoin, Horizon just opened a whole new door. Most of your wealth is locked in your house, growing a few % per year, while Bitcoin has historically grown far faster. Horizon lets you convert a portion of your home's future value directly into Bitcoin without taking a loan. No monthly payments, no interest, no term limits. You stay in your home and you fully control and custody your Bitcoin. There's no forced liquidation, no margin calls, and no income requirement. You unlock tax-free cash today, and Horizon simply receives an agreed-upon share of your home's future appreciation when you sell or refinance. Hundreds of homeowners are already doing this in over 21 states. So, go to joinhorizon.com and see your Bitcoin potential in about 90 seconds. Turn your home into a personal Bitcoin treasury with Horizon. Securing your Bitcoin doesn't have to be complicated or invasive. With NUNCHUK's HONEYBADGER plan, you get state-of-the-art multi-sig with built-in inheritance planning and no KYC required. NUNCHUK is trusted by users to secure billions of dollars in Bitcoin. The HONEYBADGER plan offers 204 assisted multisig, guiding you step-by-step on mobile or desktop. It works seamlessly with hardware wallets like TapSigner, ColdCard, Jade, and plenty of others, so you're always in control. Plus, with non-KYC inheritance planning, you can ensure your Bitcoin goes to your loved ones. No private info needed. Take control of your Bitcoin today. Click the link in the show notes or scan the QR code on the screen to check out the HONEYBADGER plan. Debify is the best and easiest way to borrow against your Bitcoin in a non-custodial way. Funds are held in a multi-sig escrow where you hold a key, and the platform allows for excellent hardware like the ColdCard Mark IV and the Q. You have access to flexible conditions, the best rates, and institutional-grade liquidity. If you're looking to make use of your capital, don't sell your Bitcoin, borrow against it. You can head over to debify.com to check them out, or simply scan the QR code on the screen. Man, those transitions.
That took forever to come back.
Who's in charge of that?
I don't know. Anyways, okay, gents, I want to play this clip of Rubio. This is put out by the State Department, and then Dave Smith quoted it and had some choice words. Let's just take a quick listen.
Everybody needs to think about it this way. If Iran had a nuclear weapon, and they decided to close the straits and make our gas prices like $9 a gallon or $8 a gallon, we wouldn't be able to do anything about it because they have a nuclear weapon. And a nuclear-armed Iran could do whatever the hell they want with the straits, and there's nothing anyone would be able to do about it. And that's one of the many reasons, apart from like the massive loss of life in a nuclear strike, why Iran can never have a nuclear weapon.
Okay, so let's hear what Dave had to say. He said, it's truly unbelievable that the State Department put this clip out. So Iran can't be allowed to have a nuke, which they don't, or they would be able to close the strait, which they already did, because we wouldn't be able to stop them, which we currently can't. So, fun take there. Now, obviously, with the strait and everything going on there, there's these massive constraints on energy right now, and a lot of tankers are going to the U.S. instead. And so that's actually putting some pressure on U.S. side supply. So this is Jeff Curry, and he's talking about when the tanks may run empty.
When do storage tanks run empty?
You're parts of the world like Australia, Philippines, Thailand, you are, but the question is when and where. I still say that with you, it's going to be, sometime the month of May that you're going to end up with Europe hitting tank bottoms, and in the U.S. it's somewhere in that July 4th time period. If not sooner, by the way, the inventories number coming out of the U.S., the ones we got last night, the ones last week, I've never seen anything like that before. And I think that it's important to remember that these inventory numbers, let's define terms, a deficit versus a shortage. We have a deficit today, meaning that demand is above supply and we're drawing inventories. It's not a shortage yet. So to answer your question, you have the shortages in places like, Asia, and it's not that bad yet because you're not completely at tank bottoms. But in places like Europe and the United States, you're in a deficit and you don't hit the shortages until you hit tank bottoms.
Now, beyond that, we also have plenty of stuff going on in the background. Since December, central banks have bought 237 billion in treasuries. So we've got this phantom QE going on. But meanwhile, the markets seemingly fantastic. S&P officially rises above 73.50 for the first time in history, up 16% since the March 30th low. Added $9.4 trillion in market cap since March 30th. But just anecdotal here, the average person, what's their experience like day to day? Well, a London pint in the year 2000 was £2, and today it's £10. So it'll cost you 5 times as much to drink away your worries because you can't make your rent. So with that, gentlemen, the state of things, where are we headed? Do we reverse course here? What fixes this? Where are we at?
Okay, well, first thought, like Rubio's, and I appreciate him trying to take on every job ever. Like the memes have been incredible with it too. Like, it's just lovely. But it's funny for him to say that because it's like, well, the U.S. would be fine. The U.S. is a net exporter of energy. The U.S. has more than enough energy reserves, even after Biden depleted our strategic petroleum reserves so damn much to try and win an election that he was too senile to win. I digress. I wish we would have had a Kamala presidency. That's all I can say. I'm with her.
No wonder you were backing Saylor.
Yeah. But
sorry, continue.
Yeah, you're good there. Point is, the U.S. has so much fucking energy. And like, I would like us to have a hell of a lot more. I would like us to have a hell of a lot more nuclear energy as well, right? But we are just fine. It's the rest of the world that is objectively fucked, right? And let's be honest too. We all know that the U.S. wasn't the first one to strike Iran in this war. There was another small country, I'm not going to say what country it was.
Lithuania.
Lithuania, Estonia, Lux, yeah, one of those that may have forced our hand a little bit. Okay, fine. We know also, if you go back to a year ago, I don't know if you have Nathan, pull that up.
Okay.
But if like a year ago, you may remember that there was the U.S. government saying that, hey, by the way, Iran's nuclear capabilities have been totally taken out. We're good. Like, it's all good. We're fine. And now it's like, no, well, they've got the nuclear weapons somehow again, even though we took them out totally. It's all just kind of laughable if you've been paying attention at all, right? If you've been paying attention even a little bit, you look at this and you're like, okay, yeah, we got you, little Marco. Like, don't worry, it's cool. We'll give you cover. But look, if you are a country that is rich in energy, you're fine. If you're a country that's not, or if you're the EU and you're Germany, for example, like Germany again shutting down nuclear power plants because they were like, no, we have to have the, I don't know, the mental retardation in energy policy, and then you ended up like you do it under some green policy, then you end up just importing Russian oil and Russian LNG. Like, it's just all so stupid. There we go. Iran's nuclear facilities have been obliterated, and suggestions otherwise are fake news.
It's still on
I don't know if you guys forgot about that. What's that?
It's still on whitehouse.gov. It's their website. June 25th.
That's the worst part, is that little bit of comms is still there. They don't even like the bar is so low for the average voter. They don't even look at this shit, man.
It's just like, come on, guys. Like, at least again, get better propaganda. America is fine. America doesn't need this. There may be other small countries or, whatever, there may be some countries that would like this to keep happening. America doesn't need this. Well, the Iranian regime sucks. They're tyrannical. There's a reason tens of thousands of people were getting killed in the streets for protesting them leading up to this invasion. That country was going to eat itself from within. Let them burn themselves out. That's all I'm saying.
The only thing I'd push back on, and then I'll pass it to Joey, because I know you were going to insult him and I interrupted you there, is that the U.S. is a net net exporter, but not for all types of oil. They're still a net importer for, I believe it's heavy crude. So I think this still could put them in a bad position because you don't have access to everything that you necessarily need. But just throwing that in there. Joey?
Gas here Hamilton is almost $2 a liter now for 87. It's like 192 or 191.
I'll do the math. It's about $8 a
A
gallon.
liter?
Yeah,
Yeah.
So that's for 87. Like if you have a car that's got, most of these cars now have like whether even if it's like,
87.
yeah, 87 octane. Yeah. So even if you have like a little turbo in your car, like my wife's CRV has a turbocharger because that's what every car does now. They have something where the thumb is over the hose to get more power instead of like raw horses. You need something above 87 for those engines. So most people are paying now $2.10 for a liter of gas, let's say here in Canada, at least in Ontario. That's not Toronto. That's not Vancouver. I think is probably close to $3 if I had to guess. Someone can tell me if I'm right about that.
$7.94 a gallon at 210. $7.94.
And by the way, like the earning power here, Walker, is significantly less than it would be somewhere like where you guys are.
No, I know you guys are poor.
Yeah,
super poor.
Poor, wrong money. We can't pick genders here, but whatever. That's one piece. The funny thing is that politicians realize there's an issue because you're starting to see elected and unelected bureaucrats put out statements and plans and proposals. The elected ones are being met with the realities of budgeting. The unelected don't have that same luxury. So in New York, Mayor Mamdani ran obviously on a campaign of free, and now is, getting on the mic and saying we're fucked. We need an extra 10 days to release our budget. It's not going to be the same budget we wanted to release. You're not going to be able to ride the subway for free. Everything's not going to be on the house. We need money. We need the state to basically reimagine its relationship with us in terms of fiscal support. You have on the other side, von der Leyen in the EU tweeting today a picture of herself, of course, why not? And some words about a new poverty plan to help people who are in need. We know how this ends. If you keep printing money to help people that are in need without adding any productive capacity or capital building incentives or, whatever to increase the amount of productivity in your economy, you're just chasing, you're chasing the tiger. And you're never going to catch it. You're just going to keep throwing good money after bad, printed money after earned. And what are you going to wind up with? You wind up with some flavor of socialism, some flavor of, government tyranny. And, together, those are not really a palatable cocktail. I think that's the problem these governments are going to have. I'll just close with one thing on the Canada side. Walker, you'll like this. Or not Walker. We may like it too, Walker, but Brandon, you're going to like it. I saw a great tweet today, and I'm going to dig into this a bit more. Maybe you can dig into it and tell me if I'm wrong or right. That Carney is, spending a lot of time cozying up to his pals in Europe, not because he thinks that Europe is really the way out of a trade stalemate, let's say, with the United States. Political reporting today, an objectively left-leaning publication, that Canada is actually to blame for the fallout in those trade negotiations, by the way. So Canadians who will listen to Rosie Barton and Andrew Coyne will hear tonight, I hope, that we had a big role to play in the fallout of those negotiations. The reason is not because he wants to, escape the problems via Europe. The problem is that those Europeans and him as a governor, both in Canada and the UK as central bank governor, really spent a lifetime building up the systems that Trump and those guys next door are threatening to overthrow in no uncertain terms. They were being coy about it, I think, for a long time, talking about the way that the monetary system works and the way the U.S. is financing military operations around the world and protecting the dollar and what it means to be a hegemon in 2026 compared to the post-World War II order. They're not really being coy about it anymore. Now they're saying, you will do what we are telling you to do. You will have the energy shortages because we are not going to support you militarily. We're not going to support you economically. We will not take your migrants. We will not take your advice. And you will pay the price for all these negative policies that you've put in place. You've really choked yourself to death, right? You've done the David Carradine, really jerking yourself off while you have the fucking belt around your neck. And now here you are hanging in the closet. Good luck with the rest of your year and your tenure. It's going to be, again, like, not to just say the same thing again, as I said earlier, but you live in interesting times. If nothing else, we are going to witness a new global order. And I think that Bitcoin's got a role to play in it. So does America. Does it matter what the rest of the world thinks? I don't think so, honestly.
Brandon?
Yeah. This is the, this is like why I started digging a couple months ago, and not to rehash all this, I'll keep this quick, but the nuclear stuff to me has just been a scapegoat the entire time. we bombed them last year, and this has just been like this line that people are fed, in my opinion. And it's part of the kayfabe, it's part of the distraction. And we're going to know really soon here. I think in the next 30 to 60 days, if there's a hard pivot. I mentioned this maybe on Monday or, one of the other streams, I can't remember, but some people that, we all know that were, close to insiders in the White House said, oh yeah, we're pivoting hard to the economy here in the next month or two, which you would imagine any president would. That's not unique to Trump, obviously, because he doesn't want to be a lame duck, doesn't want to be impeached 3,000 times his last 2 years of office. So you would think they would pivot hard. Now, in saying that, again, it's easier, again, in hockey, you can't destroy your sticks on the ice, right? You got to play the game. It's easier said than done. The straights, a lot can go wrong. You're doing military action, all these different things, right? The City of London thesis, all these different things. I started digging because the nuclear thing didn't make sense. And that's why I started going down the road a couple months ago. And I'm like, well, if I took a different angle on this, I leave this page up on the website, on the White House website. Like I do all these things. Like to me, it's just, it didn't make any sense. So that's like, okay, we got to look at it from a different angle. Maybe they're doing something differently. And that's where the whole Lloyds of London, all these things were happening. We're taking this country first and that country, setting ourselves up energy wise. That's where you start just going down these other roads. Again, could be completely wrong. No idea. We will see though. And that's the beauty of this. We will see very shortly who's right, who's wrong. Was it all just a complete ruse? Were we at the behest of another country? Were we not? Were we actually using other countries and actually had them over the barrel? That's going to be the interesting part to me at the end of the day, to see what's actually happening. And it's coming. It's May 6th already. And we're going to know. We're going to know really soon which direction we're going to go. And it still has to play. Even the best laid plans, even if those were the best plans and that was actually the plan, it still doesn't mean it's going to work. It still has to play out. And we're going to find out here.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have too much to add there. I'm not going to go on another rant here, but well said, Brandon. Gents, I'm going to basically say this was a hell of a rip. I really enjoyed it. I loved the back and forth. It got so spicy this whole time. It's been fantastic. That's the way to be. I enjoy it. You should be able to talk through and argue through things and still have a beer with each other.
Agreed. A bond does not mean that you don't say things that make somebody uncomfortable. It means that if you actually have a strong bond with someone, you can tell them to your face that they're doing something stupid or you don't like them or that wrong, and you're still going to be friends.
Yeah, it's kind of like that meme of the guys playing video games, and he's like, "Hey, would you guys, if I was having a hard time, would you help me out?" And all the guys are like, "No, I hope it's truly horrible for you." It's like, and it just goes on and goes on, and those guys will be friends for life. Yeah. And that's kind of how it is. That's the reality of it.
Iron sharpens iron.
Everybody, thank you guys for watching. Of course, a couple things I just want to let you guys know about. Of course, I mentioned it earlier, but we're rolling the dice and really leaning in hard to a tutorial only channel coming up soon. So if you are of the type that likes to tinker and likes to learn and get hands-on and actually become self-sovereign in Bitcoin, but in everything else, then do me a solid, swing by the other channel there, Sovereign Sessions. We're going to start launching stuff on August 1st. I told people about it in Vegas on Tuesday, and it's already almost 1,100 subscribers, which is wild to me.
Wow.
So super fucking stoked on that. So, but only subscribe, honestly, if you're the type that actually wants to learn some shit, because we're trying to fine tune it to just that audience. And so if that's you, then come join me. It should be a blast. I'm super stoked to cover some of the AI stuff too. So it should be a good time. Outside of that, gents, really quick, down the aisle, what do you guys got coming up? Walker, you got something coming around? Any interviews, anything going on?
Yeah, don't subscribe to Ben's new channel if you're stupid, is what he was trying to say. Just only if you like to learn stuff. If you want to hear some shit talking about communism and socialism from an actual economics professor, Rebel Econ Prof. Josh Hendrickson, my episode with him should be dropping tomorrow. Also, Lynn Alden's sci-fi thriller, The Stolgard Instant, narrated by myself and my beautiful wife, is going to be dropping on Audible. The audiobook will be dropping very, very soon. And do go check that out. So I think everybody here probably loves Lynn. She is fantastic. And turns out she can not only write an incredible Bitcoin book and be on more Bitcoin podcasts than I know what to do with, but she also writes a great sci-fi thriller. So go check it out. My wife almost died during the recording of it, not due to the audiobook, but it was just it happened.
It was
the timeline.
that good.
It was that good.
But go check that out as well. The Storm
Walker,
Guard
which voice do you
Instant by
use?
Lynn
Is
Alden.
it sultry late night FM DJ voice for it, or like which?
No,
voice
I don't use my true voice. I only use character voice.
It's basically Mickey Mouse.
But yeah, go check it out. It's great.
Brandon, what do you got going on?
Man, just epic rip, epic chat today. I have Michael Sullivan talking about his sentiment analysis he does coming out tomorrow as well. Quick one, it's like a 30-40 minute pod that we did with him, and just a really cool chat that I think, using AI to basically take people's profiles, the language they're using when they're tweeting about things, really, really interesting. I think that's going to be used a lot more. He said he's getting a ton of like hedge fund people, like all kinds of people are reaching out to him being like, yeah, we need to talk. So it's cool. Very cool chat.
I also did his audiobook.
That's right.
Really?
That's right. And he mentions that. I think he mentioned that in the episode. So
Man,
double tap Walker tomorrow.
Guys, going out of a fucking job here.
It's big. Yeah,
Joey?
it's big.
Joey.
Len and I did a deep dive on the Alberta pension plan, buying about 200 million of MSTR on Monday. Scroll this and that if you haven't. I am doing the Karadza's Your Life, Your Term show tomorrow afternoon as well. I don't know when that'll come out, probably next week, but check those out, man.
Awesome. Nathan, you got something coming up?
Yeah, I also got into an argument a little bit with Michael Green that came out on Tuesday, him and Jeffrey Tucker. And then I am going to not sleep tonight so I can put out an over 2-hour episode with a Simon Dixon and Alex Craner for tomorrow morning.
Ooh, nice. Awesome. All right. Everybody, thank you guys so much for being here. Drop a like on the video. Please do share everywhere. And we're here Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern. The most handsome Bitcoin podcast. We'll see you guys next time. Cheers. I'm Ben with the BTC Sessions. This was Nathan, Joey, Walker, Brandon, and this was Bitcast. When I first got into Bitcoin, I was overwhelmed. The jargon, the security risks, the fear that one mistake could cost everything. I remember staring at my screen and wondering, are my keys safe? Did I do this right? That experience is why I started BTC Sessions. For over a decade, this channel has helped millions of people like you learn how to use and secure Bitcoin. But I realized something. For many people, videos aren't enough. Everyone learns differently. Some need to ask questions in real time as an expert walks through their setup, their goals, and their threat model. And certain things like advanced cold storage, inheritance planning, privacy, and node or mining setups often can't be fully solved by watching another tutorial. So I built BTC Mentor. I recruited the best Bitcoin educators on the planet to work with you one-on-one. Real experts, real answers, personalized hands-on guidance tailored to your exact situation. Whether you're brand new or building a complex setup, we meet you where you're at and walk with you step by step. By the end, you don't just hope your Bitcoin is safe, you know it is. If you're ready for that level of confidence, then head to btcmentor.io and book a call with us today.